Okay, what I thought I'd give everyone a little update on this crappy little project I'm doing. Um, I've managed to find a little bit of time today uh, to work on this. It's taken me about 30, 40 minutes to work out where the hell I got up to. I didn't have much code, but it was looking at my data again because the data's crazy with this little project. Right, anyway, let's get this assembled and running in MAME. So let's just run SJASM, which will launch main for me, and run it. Let's have a look. Okay, so what you're seeing here is just some render testing um, that I've produced, and you can see that I've got some animation going on there. That's just a little animation test for the animation for the main character, which if you've ever played the game Spin Dizzy, you'll realise is called Gerald. Okay, so that works quite nice. You'll also see that there's duplicates of it. Obviously, there's four of them, and they're in colours, and you might recognise the colours because they're the colours of the ghosts from Pac-Man. So I've used those palettes for that. Above that, you can see. Don't worry about this scrolly thing. That's a bit weird. This is hacked into another project, and when the tiles are all screwed up now. But above, you can see I've got a rendering of some objects. This would be so much easier if Pac-Man had bitmapped graphics, um, but it doesn't. It's got tiles, so this makes it horrendously complicated. You can't really do this sort of game on this hardware, but that's why I'm trying to do it. But these are the objects that I've got. So I've got a half-eye tile cube, then I've got a full cube, which is what I call it. Then I've got one that's like 1.5, and then I can render a 4 height cube. Okay. I've then got some slopes, and you can see that I've got different orientations of these slopes. That's because in the original game you could rotate the viewport to the ordinal directions. So I'm implementing that same feature as well. So I have to have tiles drawn in different locations. So I've got half height slopes, and then I've got full cube slopes as well. And then the only other tiles that I've got are a flat blue square and then a blue square with a red outline. Okay, and that is all the objects I can represent. I can't draw anything else because I'm limited to the number of tiles I've got. Now I'll show you the tile set in a minute, um, and you'll see what a hideous mess it is. So this is just a test to see what they look like when they're rendered. They look pretty good. This is just the palette number 1 on Pac-Man that I'm rendering this with, but obviously I can switch palettes to get different color schemes, just like the games did. Um, you'll also notice that I've got on the southwest slopes and one of the blue flat blue rectangles. I wish you could see my finger. I'm pointing my finger on the screen, but you can't see that. On those rectangles, you'll see that there's a bit of red line missing, and that's to do with trying to cram in as many different environments as I can using this set of 14 objects. Okay, I've had to make compromises so that I can represent and build even moderately complicated arenas or worlds or whatever you want to call them. So this is a compromise thing. It's not that something I've cocked up, it's just a compromise thing. Okay, by doing that, that's allowed me to reuse some tiles where really they don't fit. Okay, um, it's quite a complicated system. So as these are being drawn on the screen, um, you have to look to see what tile's already been drawn and look at the tile you want to draw and compare them and say, right, well, when I combine those together, what does the composite tile look like? And because I've got no bitmap access, I have to actually have a tile drawn for every combination of what tile can go on top of another tile. And that's impossible when you've only got 256 in total and you want to do some text display. You just can't do it. You can't have every combination on top of every combination. So these are my best compromises. which probably took, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months to mess about with and come to a compromise, redrawing the tiles. Um, I'll show you the tiles so you can see what I'm talking about. So if I go F4 in main, bring up the tile list. So this is what the tiles actually look like, and you can see that there's lots of composites, so it looks like one thing's in front of another thing. I had to write a complete application just to do the matching up of what a tile looks like when it's on top of another tile, which was horrendous in itself. So that was a fully featured application I've written. Quite complicated. But this is the sort of stuff you do when you're building this. You build support software uh, to help just generate data. It's quite interesting, really, because you're really messing about with low-level data manipulation, and it's a quite manual process to do that, and that took me quite a while. It's not perfect, but I can't make it perfect because I haven't got enough tile ROM. Um, what I might do is when I've shown that you can actually do this on pac-man hardware, I will move over to the Tato L system that Aid miraculously managed to reverse engineer so that he could start writing his Chucky egg. And that's going to have more tile space and sprite space. So it'll make this game more viable. Probably have to do the full game on that, based on what I'm looking at being able to do on the pac-man hardware with such limited resources. It's funny because there's not much RAM on pac-man as well. You've got about 900 bytes that are usable without including the stack space. A load of solutions that come to mind for doing this have to go down the toilet uh, because you just haven't got the RAM. It's so funny when you're high-level language programming. It's such a con. You've got so much memory. You can do some right old crazy solutions that just work. Going back to old school hardware, it's just like laughably not possible. Okay, right. So they're the tiles that generate the background. So the background rendering is going to actually take a while, a few frames, but it doesn't matter because it's a one-shot deal. You do it once and then it's just sitting there. The other complicated bit is making sure that if the Gerald character goes behind some blocks, that he's occluded. So there's something in front of him. Now, that's not directly possible on the pac-man hardware because pac-man's just got this tile there and a few sprites. Okay, so what I've got to do, if I just show you the sprites, let's just zoom that in a bit. What I've got to do is work out where Gerald is, work out what's in front of him. Okay, and I'll have to calculate that on the fly because I haven't got the ROM space to pre-calculate all that sort of stuff. I could pre-calculate, but I haven't got the space, so that's going to be generated in real time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out what sprites from this set of sprites I can use to represent the part of the map that he's in that's in front of him and draw it in front of the gel character. So that'll be my occlusion routine. If you was doing this on a bitmap system, you'd just redraw that part of the screen on top of your sprite. So it's actually quite trivial, but this is a little bit more complicated to do. I haven't started working on it yet. I've got a complete solution in my head, which is how I tend to work. And then I've just got to find the time to sit down and have a mess. But yeah, I'm back on it. It isn't. I thought I was going to do it in a few months, but I've been on this project for about 2 years now, on and off, because you just got to wait until you've got the time to do it. Works crazy at the minute. Doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. So yeah, my time is a little bit limited, which is a shame because this is what I really love doing. And it's funny that I never did it until Aid pushed me, goaded me into having a go at doing something on pac-man hardware when he did his little, this is how you start up the pac-man hardware, this is how you draw a block on the screen. So all from that, I hadn't touched assembler for a few years and I always used to love it. Now realise how much I did love it. Shouldn't have ever stopped really, but circumstances and things like that. But I'm back on the ball now. So yeah, I'm progressing on it. Hopefully, I'll have a proper renderer in the next time I show a video, I will have a full scene rendered, so you'll see more than just a load of epoxy tiles. So that's where we're at the minute. Okay, but that is progress in my book. Okay, I will leave it there.